Привет из Дубая. С вами передача «ГолубьМира», где разбираем крутые навыки. Спрашиваем на английском, отвечаем на русском. Подтягивайте язык или смотрите перевод в тайм-кодах. Let's talk about efficient teacher and let's start with the definition.
Efficient teacher, this is a person who could describe his subject so that all children or all adults could understand almost everything. A teacher is going to put seeds in the brain, and they should grow up to make these people, make them these knowledges as a bricks of their own walls, of their own buildings, of their own towns.
And when we speak about the efficient teacher, what kind of characteristics, what kind of traits, what kind of personality, or like any other things they need to have in order to build the proper character to be the truly efficient?
Not an easy question to answer. First, teacher should have several ways how to describe this subject, not just one way, but several ways. Because someone loves jokes, another one to be very strict, someone like structure, someone like I don't know, maybe fairy tale. So on the first place, teacher could describe the subject from different points of view. Second, teacher could listen to the pupils, to the student, because some of them will make like a glimpse or maybe some notes. Okay, I understand. Okay, this thoughts already deep in me, but maybe this I couldn't accept. Something is wrong with this definition, and teacher would think how to put this on the same plate, same meal, but in another way. Maybe we'll change some decoration. And third, teacher could teach people in such a way that they will remember everything forever. It's not about how to put sentences. This how to infect students and pupils with the way how they could make those knowledge by themselves.
And actually, you mentioned an interesting thing like reading the signs and the glimpses from the students or pupils. So obviously, sometimes the teacher might be working with the different size of the groups. So probably one of their goals would be to make sure maybe everyone should be moving different, or maybe I'll have like my favorites or people who are outliers and I'm not going to pay attention to this. So depending on the size of groups, depending on the teacher goals, which also should be like pretty much clear, like how would they deal with the equivalency in the group in order in terms of like who is doing best or who is doing worse? How do they make sure they equalize, or maybe they should not even pay attention to that?
Unfortunately, your second suggestion is quite right. Teacher never would put attention to everyone. Usually there is several quantity in groups, small one from 2 to 5. In any case, there would be someone who will be brilliant and will go on faster than others. And to this people, it would be a bit slow because a teacher will slow down all the group to have at least one or two more who will understand in a rhythm. If you have like 10 to 25 or 30, in this case, you will make just a group of 5 as a favorites. And if all of them will glimpse and will say, okay, we understand, teacher will go further. If we'll have group like a huge auditorium, like from 100 to 300, in this case, he will appoint by himself or maybe by the answers some выборка, some selection, and we'll wait just until those 15 or 20 people will not. Okay, we've got you.
And sometimes also teachers could be different, like in the way they, like on the scale they operate and the depths of the knowledge, or maybe some sort of like a social skills. So maybe we could also put some sort of, I would say like a levels that teacher they need to go from the level of rookie to the true professional.
When you are rookie, you are just going to tell the information. So you never think, will they understand or no? So you just put everything on layers and you invite everyone to go with you. But not too many people will follow because some of them will sleep, some of them will think about something else, some of them don't like you or don't like your subject or don't like this time of day, and they will just making a vision that they're thinking and looking at you. Second, teacher will put some traps, and sometimes will ask some small questions about some tricky sentences, words, definitions, and in this case he will know or she will know how many people could follow. So he will have the same group of people, but a core of them will go almost with the teacher. And third level, in this case, teacher will any case will put twice or even 3 times. Doesn't matter how many people will understand. He will make it so often from different points and so indirect that 80% of information in any case will fill the brains of the rookies.
On that point, like when it comes to interacting with the students, obviously not everything might be going smooth, and there might be situations where, let's say, students might be having quite an opposite opinion, or maybe they're just like a stubborn or explicitly don't want to follow. So how the teacher should be dealing with them, I would call them like maybe mini conflicts or maybe mini disagreements when it comes doing it within the group.
When teacher find the group for the very first time, he will make like clusterization. This is a good students. This is a clever one. This is who will be just like opposition, and this would be like a white sheep or maybe white raven. Or we have a saying in Russian language, "Baba Yaga против." How to say it?
Well, the Witcher is against.
The Witcher is against. Okay, so. After maybe 20 or 30 minutes, teacher will understand every one of student who make some movements by hands, by glass, by shoulders, and will understand how to deal with them. And you know, this is mini conflicts quite good suit to the teacher, because teacher likes conflicts. First, this is a time to show his expansive knowledge. Second, this is to show his wisdom. And third, if you are a teacher like for 20 years, you have already heard of all the notation of all the contradictions. So you just put your patience aside and you will make some games. For example, you will say, come on, let's take a small game. If you will solve this equation, you will have 5. If you will not solve, all the group will get for today bad marks.
And actually, when it comes to the preparation and showing the expanded knowledge, how deep the teacher could be going there, and maybe I can give like a little example. I started small SQL courses within the team, and I was thinking, okay, maybe if I just give the basics, it won't be enough, but it also will be good to, like maybe give a bit more explanation about the database, like a relationship with them, or maybe even do some sort of like a reference to hardware, at least at the certain level. And actually, it paid out because students also started asking small questions, which without preparation it would be slightly hard to answer. And usually, you don't want to leave it like a void, because you also want to make sure that whatever to which extension they go, you will be able to fulfill it. So how should the teacher approaching to the preparation and the lectures itself?
Usually I have a small routine which I will discover right now. Usually I read at least 10 books, different copybooks, учебник. Yes?
Learn books.
Learn books. Then I make a structure from my head. So I read a lot of them and I put them like in a washing machine, and everything is mixed up. And then I just sit and think about structure. Then I'm trying in a fast way to explain, for example, to the window or to the TV set, the structure of the lecture. And when I believe in this tree, when I have different branches and leaves, then I start to feel some small notation. And usually it's take like, I don't know, maybe 10 days to prepare for the lectures. And after 10 days, you will have like 25 or 30 pages or slides, and it is not enough. Usually you need at least 20 slides to provide a lecture which would take you like 6 hours. So you should make it for several times. Usually I read lecture for myself for 100 times. And when I read it, I make it in a shower. I make it during my running routine, during my other stuff. I'm going to sport, to job and so on. And then I will feel myself that I am not confident student in this, for example, point or another point. Then I read another 2 to 3, 5 book with different writers. In this case, I will understand at least like 3 times more than I will give. Usually in School of Troubleshooters, we have presentation which size is like 200 slides, and some of them are never could be given at whole. For example, theory of games, it has like, I don't know exactly, maybe 800 slides, and we couldn't give even like 250.
Well, it's actually a nice reference, like to when to find the time to preparation. And there is a nice reference when you mentioned that when you listen to music or like spend your time on some small stuff, you put your like additional process in your head so that you can't really spend this time on the proper preparation. When it comes to working with the students beyond the class, like for example, let's say you want to give a homework or you want to do quite some sort of like assignment, what should be the teacher approach here? Like, should they put a lot of pressure so that the students can go ahead and practice outside of the class, outside of the building, and bring the results and discuss their experience, or they should keep it like within it? Or maybe they just actually should encourage the autonomy. Like, for example, if you want to do a project, why not to put like a couple of slides and maybe bring it to the class as well? So what should be the right approach for the efficient teacher here?
I have a very easy approach. It was a time when I was teaching at 3 different universities. In one, it was Kyiv Polytechnical Institute, because I was there at aspirantura, post-degree application. Post-degree education. Second, it was Law Institute, because I want to have another education. And third, it was for the money. And, you know, I discovered a very easy approach. On first lecture, I asked everyone who don't want to know my subject could pass this bookmarks, this зачетки. Bookmarks, and I will put like a mark of 3. Now, if you want to have 4, okay, you could go just lectures. If you want 5, you could make something extra. So I don't want to put marks exactly on exam. So this is not fair, because some good people could get bad questions in a bilet, in a ticket. But some lazy one could get good questions. So usually I have like 2 to 5 students from 100 to 125. With them, I will write some programs, some articles. I will develop some project, and they definitely will have like mark 5. And all other I have already explained. But by the way, one student of mine, he was on the 5th course, and I was working on Warcraft game. Its name was Warcraft. Yes, and I was developing some cursors for the mouse, and I asked whole auditory, if someone will help me, I will put 5 mark. But no one joined me, just one person. And when he entered the room during exam, I greet him, and I read the letter from Warcraft company, and there was written, "Thank you for your perfect student, and if he wants, he could go to have to apply for a job, and he would be definitely in part of our team." And everyone was applauding.
Well, as you're saying, extra efforts leading to the extra outcomes. And when it comes to working within the class, like a physically offline or online, obviously there might be certain like limitations or maybe specifics. What might be the difference, and how again the efficient teacher could handle it in order to deliver the knowledge into the heads of the students?
You know, you couldn't give a very tough task during the lesson or during the lecture or during the timing. So you could use some very small stuff like task for 20-25 minutes. Usually, if you want to push students beyond the limits and they will gain extra knowledge, you should work with them at night or at deep evening. But you know, it was time when it was no Skype, no Zoom at all. So we should sit on offline sites with computers and work. But you know, if the student will sit close to the teacher, I don't know, like for 50 hours, he will gain the knowledge maybe multiplied by 10.
Well, this is interesting observation. And my last question will be how knowing about efficient teacher could help to make this world a better place.
You know, a lot of people who are trying to teach others for something, they are getting angry when they are not understood by others. But it depends just from the teacher. If you are a teacher, you should find a way to everyone. You should shoot in the heart, in the brain. And if you couldn't find the way, you should resign from this position and give the student to another teacher, or you should make like 20 attempts, 50 attempts.
А мы рассмотрели навык «Эффективный преподаватель» и чем он полезен именно вам, всем мира.